Hey guys, cannedcream here, CC for short, and today I wanted to talk to you about Alicorn OCs, or why they get like this weird amount of hate, and it is a lot of hate. I googled Alicorn OC right before I started recording this just because I got curious and I wanted to see what would come up, and like all of the initial results, I shouldn't say all, I should say the majority of the initial results are like, why Alicorn OCs are bad, worst pony OCs, this is terrible. It's like very negative stuff from a community that's supposed to be all about the love and friendship and tolerance thing. And so like it begs the question of why Alicorn OCs receive this level of hatred. Let me start off by saying, in my own personal opinion, this is me talking as me, I really don't have a problem with that. Your OC is your OC. You make them however you want to make them. You make yourself happy. And if that involves being a literal pony god, then you do that. More power to you. But a lot of people have a major problem with this. And I think it kind of comes down to the whole Gary Sue, Mary Sue thing. The idea that a character is being made too perfect, too powerful. Everybody loves them. They can't do any real wrong. Blah blah blah. You know that kind of character. If you read any amount of fan fiction, you've probably run into that type of character. That type of character exists within published media in the first place. So it's kind of wrong to say it only exists in fan fiction. I apologize for saying that. But this is the stigma that comes with the Alicorn OC. Whether it's true or not is done on a case by case basis. A lot of people I read were saying things like Alicorn OCs have these really obnoxious bright neon colors, that they're way too perfect, that they know all of the main characters or are friends with all of the main characters or are dating a major character, blah 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 blah. Whether or not these are true, it's really done on a case by case basis. I suppose that there are probably some OCs out there that are Alicorns, that are too perfect, that are dating a main character and friends with everybody and defeats every bad guy they come across and has no faults whatsoever. Yeah, I'm sure that happens. Does it happen the majority of the time? Is it a cause and effect 100%? You have an Alicorn OC, therefore you have a Mary/Gary Sue? Almost assuredly not. But this is the stigma that comes with it. It has a lot to do with presentation, I think. The way that if you see something, you kind of immediately have a knee-jerk reaction to it well before you know for sure. It's very much a judging a book by its cover thing. We all know we're not supposed to do that, but it happens. We just have these, I don't know what you want to call it, filters, characterization, these just ideas that are in our head. We see something and we just assume how it's going to be. It's like if you've ever talked to a chef, they might tell you that the presentation of a dish is every bit as important as the actual quality of the food. You could have the greatest tasting meal ever. If it looks like trash, people aren't going to want to eat it. They are going to assume it's going to be way worse than it's actually going to be. It's like if you ever saw that video about these guys that they bought a bunch of McDonald's food and they repurposed it, like they chopped up the meat and they did all kinds of stuff. They made it look really fancy and they brought it to like this fine dining establishment and served it, and people were complimenting about how great and amazing the food was. It was just McDonald's food. It was just that same stuff, just shown differently, a different presentation. Therefore, people's expectations changed. They assume it was going to taste better, and so their brains made it taste better. I think, I'm not just rambling here. I'm rambling. I'm getting to a point, though. I think this also has to do with Alicorn OCs. You see an Alicorn OC, and the initial reaction might be, okay, this character is going to be way too perfect or way too dumb. There's going to be something wrong with it. I don't like it. I don't know a thing about it, but I know I don't like it. So you have this initial stigma, and that was the word I was trying to think of earlier, stigma, that you then have to overcome. You're making a lot of extra work for yourself, and you don't really see that with anything else. Even if you go outside of the normal three-pony tribe kind of OC, if you go Diamond Dog or Griffin or whatever else, there's not that same problem. I assume it comes down to the fact that alicorns are basically the most powerful creatures in MLP that we know of. We're talking about literal goddesses. Luna, Celestia, they are our two big rulers of Equestria. I mean, these are the movers and the shakers of the entire kingdom. And so if you're creating an OC that's supposed to be on their level, people might see that as a bit, I suppose, egotistical, maybe, insulting, maybe. Everyone's probably going to interpret it differently. You're going to have people who are just unhappy with that. You're going to have people like me that are like, we don't mind. There are people like me out there that are like, cool, do what you got to do to be happy. I'm sure there are. They're just not the most vocal people on the internet. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. I'm not saying that any side is wrong. I don't want to demonize people who feel this way about Alicorn OCs. You might be one of those people. I really don't want this to sound like an attack on you. You are, of course, as much as these people who have Alicorn OCs have the right to make those, you have the right to dislike them. That's the entire point of having media. You're allowed to like what you want to like and dislike what you want to dislike. Everyone has a different interpretation. No two people are going to look at the same thing and get the same kind of reaction from it. So I apologize if I've come off as attacking. That's not my point. I'm just trying to sort of elaborate on something that I feel like is pretty prevalent in this fandom, at least when it comes to the original character creation. I know I'm really dancing around the point. To get to the heart of the matter, the fact is that if you are creating an OC for just yourself, your own personal enjoyment, your own personal, just for fun, I want to do this for me, you're totally fine with whatever you do, but as long as you're making yourself happy. If you are creating a character that's meant to be put out there, it's meant to be broadcast as a avatar for yourself, whether you're doing videos like what I'm doing, like analyst videos, whether you're doing a comic series or a story or just a drawing that you mean to put up on whatever art media page you use and broadcast to the world and ask for the world's opinion, there is going to be this additional hurdle that you're going to have to step over because you have this automatic stigma. It's not great, it's not fair, and I'm sorry for it, but it does exist. That doesn't mean that you're doomed to failure. It just means you have to work that much harder and go that far of an extra mile. I am positive, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there are some great Alicorn OCs out there, that there are some amazing stories featuring Alicorn OCs, that there are great drawings. There have got to be. With a fandom this big and this creative and frankly this insanely talented, there absolutely has to be. So ladies and gentlemen, fillies and gentle colts, I say on to you. Do what makes you happy. Understand that some people aren't going to like it no matter what, and try to deal with it as best you can. And if you are giving criticism of an Alicorn OC, maybe, don't be too mean. Live and let live. Anyway, I thank you very much for listening to me ramble this week. I apologize for the lack of a formal video. Hopefully next week we will be back to actual normal scripted things instead of just me rambling on like an insane person. So thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay pony, my friends.